right, I think we're on the internet. I think. Yep, it certainly looks like it. Let me just get this over in here. What's up, everybody?
Hi, fam.
Just getting everything nice and organized, because we're organized people. Hey! What's up? Hopefully, I have resolved the issues from last week when it comes to our voices being extra quiet and the music being extra loud. We're here this week with just the two of us. As you can see, we are still
Just
here.
the two of us.
Yeah, exactly.
We can make it try.
No, you're not wrong. All right. Well, I mean, let me just quickly post the link for anyone who doesn't know where this is. So just give me 1 second, gang members. And then we will embark upon this journey. By the way, as usual, we love you guys. You guys are awesome. But soon to be even awesomer after this stream. On God. All right. So, what's up, everybody? It's another week. It's another Friday. We're here with this hideous beauty. Thank you, Con Cow, for your wonderful. The vibe is amazing. Honestly, the vibe of the Con Cow is always flexing. So, yeah, I guess without further ado, let's jump right into this. have to roast first. It was cool, but it's not 3 minutes. It's longer than 3 minutes. All right, I let this one play out, but you only get one, okay, Cow? I love you though. All right, my first opinion, okay, just off the bat, that was a journey. That was amazing. Honestly, I thought that was really cool. The melodies do sound great. I loved this little. Is it like a whole tone? Like what's the do 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 do? That was insane. So I think everything was fire when it came to the melodies and where everything was placed. I think that most of the parts worked well together except for this section here. I feel like there's like a little bit too much suspense on the silence, just like a teeny tiny little bit. Like in my opinion, I don't know, it felt like there's this moment of the silence where it feels, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but you know what I mean? Like there needs to be like something for me to latch on to, or make it shorter. You could do either one. And then yeah, mix wise, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the mix sounded really good. You could push for a little bit more loudness, but then you would lose some of the dynamics. So that's kind of that's a bit of a preference thing. That's not really a necessary step. But yeah, overall, I thought it was great. What did you think, Dino? What are your thoughts?
I heard the first half of this track the other day. It was fire then, still fire now. However, the first half is like considerably louder than the second half. I don't know if that's like just because you haven't polished it out as much. And most of my critiques are going to come to the second half just because I really love the first half, especially that delayed bass coming in, and the first part of the first, like, I don't even want to call it a drop because this is not, this ain't drop music. This is just music. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, there's like these 8th or 16th notes hitting depending on the BPM that you have this in the second half, where like sometimes they go too long, sometimes they don't go long enough. Just a little more uniformity, and that would be nice. And then the bass is not as prominent in the second half as the first half. I don't know if that's like, even just looking at the waveform, you can tell it's not as full. And then also going all the way down to B0, a guy. That's pretty brave. I know we're spoiled where we're at with the sound systems that can like go low, but I don't think they can go down to B0, dude.
I mean, it depends on. I think you're half right. I'm just gonna interject because you're not wrong, but I have seen people hitting C0 even. It's just you have to be.
Oh no! Concal's local sound system hits C0. Yeah. Hits C sharp easy. The baseball system, it'll hit that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll hit B0 though.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, is the audience that you're trying to reach going to be listening to this through like a phone or a speaker out of like a laptop or even just a normal sub in their car, or are you going to be like putting on your own shows? Because I think that's like the big question there. But you're not wrong though. Dangerous. Yeah. But I feel that this song is so. It reminds me a lot of the down tempo tipper stuff. So if you have like extra harmonics, I think it would be fine. But anyway, I didn't mean to like hijack what you were saying, Dino.
No, you're absolutely right. Great song though, dude. Crazy vibe. I love it. Especially all like, actually when I heard this the other day, I was inspired to hop on the old Ableton and make something not anywhere near as good as this. At Applecross, the low B was hitting, but yeah, of course it was. The bell, the melodies, like the movement in the whole first half, very melodic, very musical, very Wook science. But yeah, I love it, dude. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Yeah. No, it's fire. Yeah, anything sound out of place. I really just think this one part here. It's like almost there, but I think there's like a little bit too much suspense. But that was just me.
Yeah, and also like if you're gonna do something like that huge of a switch up, like it needs to be way bigger than the first half. Like
True.
maybe even just turn the bass down a decibel or two in the first part. Waiting on a rack right for that part.
Lyrics would make it sound way
Yeah.
cooler.
Yeah. For the second half only, or the first half too?
Yeah, this
Probably
I think just has
second.
the bass with the like it's yeah, this has much more like I would say the melodic elements are kind of carrying that range of like fullness, but then in this there's like mainly just that bass hitting. So yeah, I think having vocals would be good. But anyway, yeah.
Right. And then you can do some more Wook science with like +7s, +12s on the vocals to fill up the space all the way through. If it's a male vocalist, then it should just slot right into that mid range. And then a female vocalist you might have to do some like form and downshifting to like really fill it out. But anyway, really, really good stuff. I'd like to see like maybe a little more tension build and release on the second half, leading into the second half. But the rest of the track doesn't really have that, and you're not going for like formulaic music. So just cook on it, bro. I'm gonna stay out your kitchen.
Yeah, on God, that was really inspiring stuff to hear. Thank you, Con Cow. Keep making bangers. All right, next up, we got the secret weapon, bro.
The music is the movement, this is how we come to live it.
You want to start this one off, Dino? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I'm gonna address the second point. The last drop sounds great in the car and on monitors, but pretty crushed on headphones. Any ideas on how to fix this? I don't think there's anything to fix. It sounds great on my little shitty earbuds. For sure, it probably sounds even better on my headphones. But just because of course, it's going to sound better in a better listening environment. But a really easy way to figure out what it's going to sound like is look up the various EQ curves for like what do I always tell people? Cell phones, laptops, and AirPods. If you can make it sound good with the like nothing under 300 and nothing over what is it like 12K, I think. I don't know. We sat down one day and figured it out. Um, if you can get that ironed in, like it sounds good on my earbuds, dude. Let's see here. What's the next question? Do you think the first snare could benefit from a low mid cut scoop? Not sure if it currently sounds too big or not. Can you just give me a section that has the first snare in it, please?
Yeah, I think you can hear it there.
Okay, it could be snappier. It's not that there's too much low and mid. It's there's not enough high. Like your snare when it hits and it's cutting everything out. What I like to do is I like to dial it up to the point of ear pain and then just dial it just back a little bit. Right? Like it should be piercing right through that mix. So it's not that there's too much lows and mids. In my opinion, there's not enough high. What is the next question here? Should I give the track more room to breathe by having less low end between drops, or is it fine as it is? You mean that in? You mean that like
I think you mean
section
from an
to
arrangement.
section,
Yeah, from like an
arrangement
arrangement
wise, or
perspective.
do you mean like frequency breathing room?
Well,
Does it feel it's really full across the whole frequency spectrum, and that can be a vibe if you're going for that. Yeah. At the same time, like, yeah, obviously you're gonna want to build full on breaks. Do you need to cut out the sub bass after the drop? Why would you cut the sub bass after? Like, you mean during the drop section or like after the drop
in
section? Because
between
during the
drops.
drop,
In between
in
drops.
between drops, yeah, you could do a sub drop. Do what Concow did on the last track and sub drop down to a frequency below audible.
I think what he means like during these
Just
sections.
fade it out. Yeah, you definitely don't want bass in the break. Like,
yeah, you can definitely. I mean, like, yeah, I would say yes. Like, you should turn it down a little bit.
It allows you to remove the energy level so that you can reintroduce it and it's more impactful later. And that's what's going to give you that like blissful climactic oh shit moment. Is when you remove something. There was one part that was not addressed in the questions. The track is primarily in D sharp, which is fine. I'm sure, I guess. But there is one wobble towards the beginning where it's like that. It's that harmonic series sounding wobble that's hitting D sharp, and then it goes to G sharp and then F sharp, and the D sharp just didn't fit. I don't know if it was like frequency clashing in other places or what the deal is, but it didn't sound quite right to me. But that's my only like complaint with this. And great track, brother. Great track. Keep it up. Keep coming.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, on God. Yeah, I mean, you basically answered a lot of my ideas. The big stuff that I think matters when it comes to this snare is you want it to, like Dino said, you want it to really slap. And there's a couple of ways you can go about it. Like, you can make the side chaining of it a little bit more aggressive. You could even saturate it or add distortion to it. You could clip it more. There's like a lot of different things you can do. And sometimes it's all of those things, right? But yeah, I would say definitely just make the snare a little bit more forward in the mix in whatever way you think is best. I think that the drop sounding good in your car, not on headphones. I heard it's the I think the biggest thing that is probably leading to that feeling is the whatever you're doing for your super saw pad. I think it's clashing in that low mid-range register with your main bass sub. So if you have any unmasking software or multi-band compression with side chaining, you can do that. But that's just my opinion. I think it's like mainly, and I also don't know how much, the side chain is feeling good in this section. And that's just my opinion. So I would mess around with the side chain like a little bit.
Yeah, it is really tight. It could have more of that like whooshing, swooping, like sucked out feeling to it.
Yeah.
But, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Like it just feels very like too choppy, I think, for the song. Especially when you like it's like less, it's too noticeable. Like that's all it really is. So like try and get the sidechain to be a little bit more transparent. Like usually you can just do that by adjusting the shape of it. But yeah, that's the big thing that I think is making the crushed feeling is that pad, the way the pad interacts with everything. And then, yeah, should you give more room? Yeah, we talked about that briefly, but yeah, always try and give as little as possible for as long as possible until you get to the drop. So like during, I would even bring your snare back a little bit too. Bring like your drums to be a little bit less aggressive. So maybe like instead of having all the drums like boom, 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 like all those kick drums, maybe just like pull away some kick drums, like just the kick snare on the 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like, you know what I mean? Like just the kick snare instead of like all of the extra kicks. That could be a good idea too. But yeah, as little low end information as possible during these sections, I think would benefit the song a lot, because then when you do get to those sections, you're just like, oh my God, especially with the low end though. But yeah, but no, all in all, dude, yeah, great track. That's fire. I do think it reminds me a lot of like, I like how this part is almost like that future bass vibe, but then it's mixed with a lot of like the LS Dreams sort of like, Wakan style stuff. So that's cool. I definitely think you're flexing. Keep flexing. Well, hell yeah. Dang, that was a secret weapon. All right, next up, we have the great owl himself, Muskaroko. What an interesting name. Just gotta make sure. Okay, yeah. These questions are kind of troll, dude. I'm like trying to figure out these questions. Is this track needing more Wumpus? What?
So I have an answer to that question. I know what he's talking about with that. You feel like you're missing like a nice mid bass element because it is something that could slot in, but it's not like missing. Where do you put the Wumpus? So in the second half, in the second drop, you have a sizzle wob lead that could be the response to a nice clean Wumpus. But the track doesn't need a Wumpus. It's complete on its own. Would it benefit from the addition of some Wumpus? Yes. Like a nice, huge, clean, like, just wob. Like, what are those, like the singing bowl things? Because you already have the hand pans, which, by the way, they sound great. And with this style of music, like, the more, like, world music, like, inspired sounds, and, like, I don't know, like sound bath healing type stuff. Like it all just fits together, I think. Yeah, definitely what Nick said. Add a tasteful wow womp, clean guy, or at the end of it, like either at the beginning or the end. Either it's a fill or it's a call. And it could be a huge like one whole beat wob. But yeah. That's my take on it. I think it's a great track. I'm not even going to address the other questions because I agree with Magnet. They're kind of troll.
I mean, I think I kind of get what you're saying, Al. Like, here's my opinion, right? Like, I think I know what you mean. Like, it's missing that like one element that's a very forward kind of phrase-filled element, which isn't always necessary. Like, it's almost like this is feeling more of like an ambient like journey through lots of different places. If you don't think that you can easily find a bass, like a mid bass vibe, my little like easy replacement for something like that is like vocal stuff. Like, so I could definitely hear some like tribal vocal like singing, which you have some, but it's very like back in the mix. You have like pad kind of vocal sounding stuff, but I think if you had something forward that was like in that same kind of register and vibe, I think that would benefit this mix. But yeah, but it's good as is, right? Like if you want it to be more atmospheric, then just roll with what you've got, because it feels very like spacious and atmospheric. So it doesn't always need to have that like brain latch onto element in the song, in my opinion. But that's just because I've been making ambient music recently. All right, so like, you know, that's just how I've been feeling. You have anything else to add, Dino? I feel like this track is great. There's some really cool stuff.
No, but between this and the Concow track earlier, can definitely feel a set coming on. You know, just at this.
Oh yeah, just down tempo, like vibe out, just relax.
Super vibey. Get Tipper's attention, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Anyway.
I feel like this Tom fill is so good. I'm trying to think of the song that it reminds me of. It's like an old rock song. I just don't know the name of it. But
the SpongeBob anthem.
Well, there's that. Phil Collins, yes, dude, yes. No, Al knows. Yeah. Yes, in the yes. Yeah. I don't know if that's what you want, but that's like literally the exact same thing, but like it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the big thing about that one part. I was like, that's why I smiled. I was like, this is kind of troll. Like it had me feel like that, but I don't know. it took me out of the vibe of everything else, right? So I don't know if that's good or bad. But it definitely like I was like vibing out, and then I heard this, and I was like, what? So I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm just letting you know that's what I felt in my brain when I heard it. So, but yeah, everything is awesome about this track. Keep flexing out. That was awesome. But yeah, nice. Oh my goodness, dude, the art's always nuts. It's like, how? Like what? All right. Do you want to kick us off, Dino? What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Let's see the question. I think one of the questions was about the drums, the guitar, and it being too busy, I believe. Is the climax of the song too much? No, I just wish the bass would come in a little bit sooner. Around the 1 minute mark is where it comes in. It's a really nice bass riff. Like, too much going on. Yeah, but you could stereo separate the various. Like, now we're talking traditional mixing techniques for, like, band music, because it's primarily what this is. Are the guitars balanced? If you do, you probably mean like in dynamic balance. You could do a little more spatial balancing, a little more left, right, center, maybe even some like runs to where like, cause, yeah, just try and do some more stereo separation. Are the drums too busy? No, I was vibing, bro. I don't even know where to begin addressing a Euclid track other than they're always vibes, they're always fire, and I love them. The guitar is a little sharp at times, like frequency wise. It hits play like the
I know exactly what you're talking about. Hang on, let me find it.
2/3 of the way through about.
Yeah, you like feel that?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. It's like around 1K, it looks like. Maybe like 8 to 900. And then up to yeah, 10K.
It's like 4K.
Yeah.
But no, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And like Scrooge is saying in the chat, it's certain things need to be more in the center and other things need to be more stereo. But yeah, that's it's a good track. Very very experimental. The shoegaze related tracks always on point. But yeah, no, that's it's the drums are not too busy though. I like the drums quite a bit.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
I feel like climax wise, talking about like right here, I think that the guitars do end up feeling a little bit overlapped with one another. I think if you did more EQing on them to basically like, so the lower end guitar just kind of cut out a lot of like the high mids and mid range. So that way that like pluckier guitar can shine through. And then on the pluckier guitar, high pass it more so that it's like got room for the low end guitar. And then like that plucky guitar, I would say high pass that, the bling 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 bling, like high pass that, and make it a little bit more stereo instead of it being such a like a focused element, because I feel like you already have those two, like the low end guitar and the upper mid to high range guitar kind of like feeling very forward in the mix. I would say like that extra fluttery thing you could make a little bit like further back in the mix. And then yeah, this is a humble opinion, but I do think that the right pan guitar just isn't slapping in my opinion. It feels like really strange. I think if you wanted it to feel more like off to the side like that, you should move it around, or have another element that's on the left side that's like just as like forward in the mix to like help kind of create the balance in the mix, because there's definitely an off balance feeling with the right and left side of the mix, and it feels like it's leaning to the right. And then I think the drums are fine. I mean, the only thing is maybe you could make the drums feel a little less dry, you know, add some reverb to especially like the hi-hat related stuff. Just because it's such like an organic feeling song, the drums kind of feel like a little bit too digital, I think, but that's also sort of a production opinion. I wouldn't say that's like necessary. Plus, if you add some room reverb to the whole drum kit, usually that helps like glue everything together. And yeah, I'm a big fan of that feeling. But yeah, all in all, I think this is a cool vibe. But yeah, like, so I think the biggest thing though is that right pan guitar. I think having that more centered would be best, but you could also just have another element on the left side that kind of balances it out. But all in all, really cool song. I hope you keep working on it, because the picture fits perfectly, which is great. Anyway, did you have any more thoughts, Dino?
No, that's all I
Yeah.
got it on that one.
Well, banger, keep flexing, because hearing your music improve is very interesting. You have a very unique way of making music, and
Eclectic
good.
for sure.
yeah, it sounds good. So I mean, keep going, because it's different, which is awesome. I think you're figuring it out too. So yeah, good shit. All right, next up, we thought we were gonna have a chill night, but not anymore. I guess I'll start this one off. Yeah, first thing is, bro, you didn't have to do us like this. You could have at least put some soothe on it or like not made it so harsh. There's some frequencies in this like 1 to 3K range that are just fucking painful. I'm sorry, like ow. But it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. I think that the drum flow is not the vibe that I was hoping for. Oh yeah. Well, Crafty, you said it. I love pain too, and it's too much pain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love loud sounds. But that was too much. But anyway, yeah, the drums sound okay. I just don't like this kick being every single time it's doing the like stutter kick. I think you could have it like, stutter like sometimes and then maybe stutter it differently. Like maybe have it like a slowed down stutter. I think that because it happens so much, it becomes like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's hitting in a way that sounds good. It becomes like the main focal point. And I think it hits like the same time almost every measure. Yeah, I think if you just did some variation to that one main like stutter kick, then everything would flex really hard. Mix. I feel like the low end is really low, like maybe too low. Like that note, like that's like a A sharp 0, I think, or a B 0, and it's like camped. Yeah, I think that's a little low. But it does still feel interesting. It's just like, I don't know. It makes the track feel muddy, I think, because like you have these drums happening often as well. If you made the drums a more forward element than the sub, then I think it would be fine. But because the sub is like still so forward, it kind of makes the low end just feel very muddy. But that's also just an opinion. And does the build for the drop work? I think you should try to bring in... I would bring in that first, like, the like, that melodic part. I would say you should have some kind of a reversed element of that, just to let people know, like, this is the note you're going to be hearing when we first hit this downbeat. Like you could do the reverse reverb throw trick where you like just create another track, drag that sample down to it, put a reverb on it, put the mix all the way up, resample it or flatten it, and then just reverse it and then bring it onto the previous, like the original track. I think that would work well. And then, I think that it's a little abrupt, but if you just help people know what's about to happen a little bit more, then it would work. And that's just like one quick, easy way to do that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Dino, what do you think?
Too much kick. Too often. Yeah. Way too much kick. Way too often. As far as the low end thing goes, I didn't even notice that the low was too low, but I'm also not expecting low end in a track labeled lo-fi bass that has like a lo-fi feel. Like I wasn't craving the sub bass, but Twan said it pretty good. You need a very specific sound system to hear that. And Brad pointing it out kind of made me aware of that. But let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Why do we not have 3 minutes for that end section?
Oh,
That was musical and tasteful and wonderful.
I just wanted to remind you what you were talking about, Dino, just to make sure you hadn't had a moment of brain loss, like memory loss, or like...
I was gigging. Yes. Okay. How does the mix sound proper through each drop section as in levels mix down? I mean, yeah, everything sounds like it's the right volume. So it didn't. Nothing was sticking out. Just maybe the note selection could have been, you know. And for that A was A sharp. You said.
Yeah, that's what it looked like on the mini meters.
A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Just make it an E, brother. It'll work it as E. So, right? B, C, C sharp, D, T sharp, E, F. It'll work as F.
Yeah, F. You're talking about 7 semitones up as an F.
Yeah. I was like, wait, A sharp to E is not the right.
Don't worry, I'm pretty bad at that as well. That's why I looked over at my keyboard.
On the fingers. Yeah, that could definitely vibe that. But as far as like the actual levels of things goes, yeah, it sounded pretty good. Does the build for the drop work? I know it's minimal, but I hoped to take away enough and build tension before giving the drop. Okay. So Brad suggested one way, and you could definitely do a preverb, where, like he said, you just reverse the sample, throw a reverb on it, and then reverse it again. You could do that, or you could add in 1 bar, so 4 beats of silence with like maybe just like a hi-hat groove going, and then like a click ending, fading that out, and then you bring it in with the preverb just to like give people they know what the timing is from the hi-hats, so they know the groove. They can keep the beat that way. When that click, clap, hit, whatever comes in, and then it's silenced, and then they hear a preverb, they're anticipating that 4 beats after that, it will be the drop, or 8 beats after that, it'll be the drop. Just a old school way to do something like super minimal like this. And I think that would probably be a good way to do it, to build into, because like you're wanting it to be minimal and you want to take it away and then build tension. You can even have your hi-hat, or I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be hi-hat, just anything that gives them the sense of the beat. Like you need a downbeat and then a continual, just so they know like in time where it's going to start, because that's what humans want. They want the satisfaction of like that 4 beats, 4 blocks, and then them being like having that expectation met. But yeah, no, that's I really wanted more of that last minute. But anyway, that's all I got on that one.
I feel like, so here's the thing. I'm gonna say this again. I like the idea, but it's too hard. Like that's just, imagine that on like a set of like just big speakers. Like like functions, that would make me cry on a set of functions. I would like have to leave the building. But if you just tame the pain and give them like just enough, then it'll be fine.
And then just dial it back down 5%.
Yeah. He missed that part. He missed the dialing it back down 5%, and then that would have been the most perfect part of the whole song. But anyway, thank you very much, Agron. You flexed. All right, next up, here it comes. Version 3.
Hold on.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
This looks like a tear out track. I'm just saying.
Okay, he's guessing. All right. I mean,
I'm guessing.
I will guess that it's not a tear out track. All right. What do you think, Dino?
Snare definitely didn't hit in the second half, like as was mentioned. Sub was fine. What's the third question?
Did you say sub was fine?
Yeah, to my headphones. Yeah,
Fair enough.
it was a little phasey.
Fair enough. No. You're good. You're good. I was just like, is that what he actually said? I'll just quickly leap on. I'm just gonna leap on that real quick. If I was you, Anomaly, I would literally high pass all of your bases and get a dedicated sub on this track because it's so close to being like nuts. But there's literally no like low end, and I think it's because when the low end is hitting, when the low end is hitting, you can see right here. I'm going to show you. You can see how there's two fundamentals, and they're both hitting at the exact same time, and they're right next to each other. So what ends up happening is you have this like, it ends up feeling muddy. Like it feels like there's nothing there. Like it ends up feeling like there's no foundation because they're two things fighting for that foundational space to the point where it stops existing. But I like the sound design ideas. So what I would recommend is just high pass that, like get rid of that information and replace it with just a sine wave or something that's like, you know, like closer to a sine wave. Because then you'll have like very felt low end, because your kicks are fine. I think I agree with Dino on the snare. Like, and that can be solved in the same way I was talking about earlier, like distortion, you know, you can sidechain it harder. You can do a little bit more, like you can add reverb to it. There's a lot of ways that you could bring it forward in the mix, but it does need to come forward. But the biggest issue on this track, I think, is that low end, like this bass. There's like nothing there, and I feel like if you had a sub underneath that, oh, like that would be insane. So that would be
there's sub there. It's just not as loud as the low mid.
I can not hear it at all. I mean, maybe it's, but especially in this part too.
You're right about this clashing, like the 120, 150 area.
Yeah, it's all in this low mid. It's because the low mid section of your mix is a dangerous place, because if you have lots of build up there and if there's clashing of instruments like or frequencies, it ends up feeling really muddy. And I think that if you high pass and get rid of some of the information in here and replace it with more like dedicated sub energy, then yeah. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack you, Dino. I was just like,
no, you're right. Like it was a little phasey, but that's kind of part and parcel for this kind of music. I think is a lot of this mid-tempo sound or modern day electro.
Well, I think Rez, like, doesn't Rez make this style a little bit? I would reference Rez because she seems to be popping off
the current dawn of this stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
Well,
my bad.
The third question was if the first drop fit well. Yeah, I could just feel a little more cohesion in the various sounds. Like Magdo was saying, you could. Well, you said you had a dedicated sub, but if you clean them up a little, or maybe figure out what notes are going on and make sure that it's like either stack them or cut them out, have them hitting the same fundamental note, or don't have them both going at the same time. Because it might sound huge on here, but it's not going to sound huge on a sound system. There is a bit of sub. It could use some more, though. But yeah, no, go ahead. I'm good.
Word. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the last question was the only one that I didn't really talk about. Not sure how well the first drop fits. I'll be honest, I didn't really notice a whole lot of tension building. Okay, there it is. I just wanted to make sure that I like really felt it. I think it's because there's too much low end still. Because you have all these drums, you're not high passing them, so there's still a lot of low mid energy, and then I can still feel that like doo 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 doo. I can still feel that bass for too long, I think, as well. So like you want to take away more low end before you really hit that point. And then again, you're hitting the first bass of the first drop is again just feeling kind of empty in the low end. Like there's information here, but it's all above the sub region. So like it's all from like 110 up. And on top of that, it's like all of the peaks are right next to each other in the frequency spectrum. So they're basically just kind of not canceling each other out, but they're stealing energy away from one another. So versus if you just high pass that, put a sub in like anywhere below 100 hertz. So like, you know, anywhere from like, I mean, I'm being a little silly here, but like C0 to like C1, like somewhere in there. I think that you like, obviously you shouldn't probably go to C0, but I'm just saying like in general, like in that region, I think that it would help. Your kick is hitting there. That's what's wild. Like your kick's hitting down here. But the sub is, I think, maybe either too low from a quiet perspective or like not low enough from the frequency perspective. Because I feel like your sub should be hitting somewhere in here, and I just don't see. I don't really see a whole lot of that. But that's yeah, like a good example is like F. So like your F at like what 40 something, 44 hertz. I think you're at G, which is fine. It's just, it's so quiet. I can't hear it. You kind of want your, like, do I have to open up Paint? I think I'm going to open up Paint here because I'm going to show you all what your frequency curve should look like if you want it to slap on a big sound system. So what you want is so if this is like your lows and this is your highs, you want your mids to kind of do a little bit of this. All right. So like if you really want your low end to slap, you want to make sure that the bass frequencies, which is like anything below like 120, well, that's a really bad 2. Anything below like 120 needs to be higher than all the stuff that goes all the way up to like, you know, like 1K or so or something like that. So like anything in between here should be a little bit lower than your sub. Of course, within reason, right? Like not everything all the time, but you know, something along those lines is what you want. So yeah, the sub needs to be like really felt and there. And that's why I suggest using like a sine wave or something very, very similar to a sine wave just to start off, because like nothing feels better. Okay, this is a little bit opinionated, but nothing feels better on a sub than a sine wave. Cause like it's literally just such a smooth feeling sound that it's going to work the sub perfectly. Like it's just going to be this nice, like felt movement of the sub. So yeah, just whenever you're starting off with learning how to do dedicated subs, I recommend just using sine waves because they sound good. But all in all, yeah, it's a really cool song. I would reference Rez as well. Listen to some of her tracks, kind of like put your songs next to one another, see what she might be doing in her low end. Like, cause you can probably just immediately tell like if her low end is louder or quieter. But yeah, I feel like that's like the biggest thing in this track. If you add some more sub, oh, this would be so crazy. Because like the sound design is crazy in a good way. So yeah, just got to like refine the elements around it. And then I think you'll be flexing. But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say, Dino?
No. Just depending on whether you're going for, because like back in the day, when my stomach was small and my hair wasn't gray, the kick was like the main driving bass element. So just depends on the vibe you're going for. But I can agree, like having a big kick and then a huge like sub coming after with this would definitely take it to the next level. But this track, it wasn't tear out. I'll give you that. I would, you know,
I just saw your other question, your better question. Does the main bass in the second drop sound good? I mean, all the sound design is fire, honestly. The whole time the sound design is great. It's just the way that it's working with the low end elements, it just doesn't feel like there is any. So it's like I'm getting hit with stuff like this. Like that, like I should be feeling a sub just.
That could be huger. Yeah,
I should feel just massive movement in the low end, and I'm just not. So I would focus on really honing that like sine wave energy because you're close. But yeah, anyway, good stuff, my guy. Keep flexing. Oh, now this might be tear out. It might be. This I don't know.
Oh, let me see.
You think these guys can make tear out? You think these guys can make tear? I think they might. We'll find out.
I know it says Funky Bandits.
Oh, he has it listed as dubstep though.
Hold on. As our crew gets impatient nearing the closest part, the most eccentric of the group form. Okay, I'm done.
Yargy mateys. Well, Dino, I'll let you go first. What did you think? What are your thoughts?
We just had a whole conversation on lacking bass when it could be bassier. Dedicated sub would go hard on this one for sure, especially when you get to like the end section when you have those really hard yays. I feel like a dynamic sub bass pulsing with the LFO movement of those wobbles would be fat. Makes too hollow, not enough low mids throughout the drop compared to the high mids. Can I get just the second third of that? That's the third.
I playing the right section? I just want to make sure.
No, but it's all right. It's close enough.
Just give me a timestamp and I'll aim for it.
1 minute maybe. I don't know. Yeah. No, it's not missing. I mean, yeah, there aren't very many low mids, but it doesn't feel like they're missing it because you have like the bottom end is going good. I think. I was thrown for a loop by this track though. Are the transitions lacking in any way? Not that I could say, but as usual, can you play the dipping section? I like. Good. That could all be high passed, like pretty tough. I really like the ambience of it too. The reverb, it's in a nice space. How is the mix down from an instrument and layers standpoint? Are you talking about like the instrumental section in the beginning and that plays throughout, or are you talking about like the overall elements levels?
Well, I'm sure
because I feel like some of the
specific parts like.
Yeah. So right now, there are things that are too loud and there are things that are not loud enough. Like the electronic bits are a little bit too loud and the instrumental bits are not loud enough. You could maybe put a limiter on them or clip them, get them all to a similar level, and then like start them out at the same point and then bring them down to where you want them to be. But I feel like the electronic sections are just way too loud. But aside from that, I love the idea of this track. You were calling it dubstep. I wouldn't call it dubstep. It's more like OG glitch hop, you know? I don't know, is this in like the 155 to 160 range? Because it feels pretty fast.
Everything is dubstep. Yeah, dude. Real speaking. Facts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, wait, were you done, Dino? I just saw that.
100 BPM. Okay. That's why I thought it was like 150-ish. Okay. Especially if you have like a lot of triplet time stuff. Yeah, no, definitely a funky track. I'm not sure that I'd call it dubstep though, but I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic about the genre labeling. That's the danger zone. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
So I'm gonna just kind of keep going on the point you were just on with the entire space of the instruments and it feeling like too full or not full enough or all that kind of stuff. I think the biggest thing is that, like in this part, I played the bass is louder than everything, or the electronic elements are louder than everything. But then in other parts, like in that part, I feel like the trumpets or whatever those are fighting with the mid bass. So I think like what you could do is limit and or like compress all of the instruments that aren't electronic, and then just do some sidechain compression with the main mid bass. So like they're kind of similar levels most of the time, but if the mid bass is playing, it's like cutting down the instruments so that it can have space to like do its thing. I feel like Dino's point about the dedicated sub was big brain as well, because there's like this one part.
That would be so huge with a dedicated sub throbbing in the same movement.
If you high pass that and just had the dedicated sub instead, you won't have that like feeling, in the low end. Like it just feels like the low end's confused during that moment. It's like I don't know what I want to do, and you could be like, I'm gonna tell you what to do, and that's what I think you should do, because I think it would make that whole vibe just really slap. But yeah, I think that the mix doesn't feel hollow, but I kind of can understand the concept of it being hollow if there's too much happening. So it's not like it's hollow from a frequency perspective, but I think that because you have so many things happening at the same time and they all feel like they're at the same level, the brain just can't like focus on anything. The brain's just like, what's happening? Where like you could just decide like, you know what? I want 2 or 3 like main elements. So like the main being like the electronic elements for sure being like the most forward. And then like the guitar or the, I think there's is it I feel like the trumpets are like the most forward out of everything. So that could be like the other like leading thing. And then everything else is more or less just like background kind of like undertones to help people feel like there's fullness, but it's not really meant to feel like this forward thing. Because I think that's like the biggest thing is like the brain can't pay attention to more than like 5 or 7 things at a time. So if you've already got all these drums and you've got like the bass happening and the trumpet and, you know, reverb, because the reverb's kind of like a thing that you're also really flexing in this, which is fine. It's just like a lot to take in all at once. So I think you could still keep all of those things in there, just make them a little bit more back in the mix, and then you'll be fine. I do agree with Dino during this build-up. I think if you had a little bit of high passing, especially on the drums, no one likes to high pass their drums during these sections, but I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. And then, yeah, I think that you could also even like low pass or turn down some of the reverb. Because it feels like there's reverb in this section and then the same reverb is in this section. So it feels like there's this too much continuity in the reverb. So like if you have the reverb, even bandpass actually, and then you kind of let it like, you know, exist here fully, I think that would be a good idea as well. Dynamically, you know, EQ that reverb based on what's going on in each section. But yeah. Oh, word. Yeah, I think you could just do more aggressive EQing then. Just be more aggressive with those EQs. Really try and make sure you can feel that lack of frequency. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I thought that was fire. I thought the vibe is perfect. This whole vibe is fire. So yeah, keep going down this path because this is fun. Let's see. The reverb in the second drop is to make that bass really be main comp, but I will be a ruthless yaya on these frequencies. I've never seen that typed before. But yeah, dude, keep flexing. You did great. This is a fire song. I feel the Grizz energy. So yeah, that's cool. All right. Feeling fly. I'm about to be feeling so fly.
Down.
was an accurate name. I guess I'll start this one off. So, reference tracks. Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, the closest thing that this reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Soda Island, but let me just go to their SoundCloud. It kind of reminded me of some of their old stuff. Let's see here. So that would be like, I would say this whole label would probably be a fun place to start. I think that I think that new chord progressions are always spicy, but you don't have to. I think the biggest thing that I didn't like about the chord progression is it was like being muddied by something. There's like this other mid bass or low mid bass that's like happening with the Rhodes, and I feel like you don't need it. That's my opinion, but I feel like it's like taking me away from the beauty of the chords because it feels like it's creating mud. I'm trying to think, what else? Is the mix too warm? I think the mix is fine. You could go a little bit. You could have a little bit more mid-range stuff in like the higher mid sections, like mid-range meaning like mid-centered. And this part, I think you could maybe open that up, like have some like higher frequencies, like maybe a pad or something that you like open up as the bars are going on. But not necessary. It does feel like it's missing some energy in that sort of region. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, I think the drums are great. And yeah, I feel like your bass is hitting too, like your sub. It's just that low mid feels muddy at times. Like that. Like that sounds clean. And then there's these other sections. Whereas this just feels a little bit more like muddy in general. I don't know, there's like a weird tonal thing happening in this low mid range that I don't think is clean, which may be fine, but I just don't think it fits that like clarity, beautiful vibe that I think you're going for. And then does this sound refreshing or do you feel it's dated? Honestly, I think it sounds great. That's why I think a good reference for you would be Soda Island, because there's like a ton of stuff in here that's like it's just so similar in vibe. I think it's just like, that's why I think like you're so on that wavelength. It sounds great. And yeah, no, I don't think it sounds to anything. I think it sounds great. Like, yeah, there's no dated feeling that I got from it. So yeah. Anything that sticks out. I feel like I covered all the stuff that really, this is a cool track. Keep working on it. It's fun. What do you think, Dino?
Polychrome Tone Sound.
Oh, Polychrome. Yeah, that's another banger.
Yeah. It's like adjacent vibes.
Sorry, we just have to do a quick little. Facts.
Yeah. Similar. Print, but similar.
I don't want to get stripped. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. I'm assuming I can't play very like long periods of time of other people's music, but yeah.
Should I go into a new chord progression for a bit? Only if you can naturally do it. Maybe even like the same chord progression, but in a different key. Like the same, I don't know, like chord numbers, the same movement, just transpose it to a different key. That could be fire. Too jazzy. He's going for a jazzy style. Is the mix too warm? The mix is really warm. You could add some high end sparkle and some sizzle on the top end. Maybe even, can I get like where that solo comes in on the first sausage? Yeah, it's good.
My bad. I just realized
Good.
what you meant.
If you could maybe duplicate it up like 2 octaves up, bathe that in reverb, and then remove all of the dry so it's just wet. That'll give you a lot of ambience. It'll give you the high end, and it'll be in the same like melodic content. That's a good way to get free frequency space. And let's see, is the sound refreshing or do you feel it's dated? Trying to keep myself in the vein of nostalgic. See, the thing is, good music is never dated, you know? And it is like nostalgic with like that E-Piano Rhodes kind of feel. You could spice it up by like putting in some like background elements of modern sound design. That could keep it like a little bit fresher. But at the same time, that could make it too contemporary. And the problem with contemporary music is that it's contemporaneous to the moment. And then it gets to be like played out and not refreshing anymore. So like, I think the closer you are to like the true roots of whatever it is you're going for, the better it is. The vibe is definitely there too. If anything that sticks out too, do please bring it up. Yeah, not enough high end, I don't think. You're right, it's a very warm mix. And like I could see someone really enjoying this on like the right set of speakers, on the right headphones, with the right sound system, but it's not going to sound that great coming out of something like this, I don't think. Just because they just don't have the fidelity to play it out. And if that's your goal, I said it earlier tonight, find an EQ curve that lets you replicate what these sound like. And yeah, it's a good way to do it. Great track though. Definitely love your work, Ken. Always jazzy.
Yeah.
We're on a vibe tonight, guys. We're on a vibe tonight.
For real. Yeah, I was expecting a bunch of bangers, and there's a couple, but no, most of these have been just so like melodic and interesting. I love it. Which in my opinion is good. Like there's too much loud music out there, gang. No tear out yet. All right, fingers crossed. Still no tear out. Come on. Just kidding.
There's spoilers submitted. There will be tear outs.
Oh, okay. There's gonna be tear out. Okay, well, we tried, lads.
Go ahead.
What do you think?
When does the riff get old? I don't know that there's the da, 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 da. Like there's clearly a motif, right? But it gets kind of lost in the base of it all, but it never feels repetitive or old until you get to the end of that first part, but then it ends at just the right time. And the breakdown you have is just spaced. And the second part is just similar enough to where it's refreshing, but not repetitive and old. Is the sustained bass too boring? You know the answer to that question. You just want to hear me say it. No, it's not boring. It's great. It's a fantastic bass sound. Do I know what you're saying? Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. These are well defined glutes, my man. Something that stuck out to me in a great way. The percussion on the top end is killer, dude. It's killer. It's really just can I just get like in the dead second? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
The Foley in there, it's like it almost sounds like it's like a scratching sound, and you're using it in the place of like a hi-hat tambourine type thing. It's fantastic, and it comes in and out at the right times. Banger track, dude. And yes, I do know exactly what you're saying. You're saying wob 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 wah.
Dude's a translator. On God. Does the riff get? When does the riff go? It's not a question of if. It's a question of when. I feel like the one riff that doesn't quite tickle the ear holes is in the way that I would like is the like I feel like that is a little overused. 'Cause like we basically get through this whole first section and you're using the same exact phrasing and timbre of it. I feel like if you just change the phrasing of it, you don't even have to change the timbre, but just the like when things are hitting in this little section here. So like you got like the first half of that's fine. In this second half, I think you could change the phrasing of it a little bit and it would help a lot. The big thing that stuck out to me in a negative way, I'm just going to talk about this before I forget. You need to high pass those vocals, especially during the drop. Oh, you hear that? I do not like that.
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You mention it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where make it more forward in the high frequencies. So like here, we'll open up Paint again. So what I would do if I was you is make an EQ curve that looks like this, right? So that way you're getting rid of all of the low end, like below, like, I don't know, like definitely 120, but I would even say like 200 or more. And then like this can start at around 1K, right? And that way you've got like this is kind of where all of the sibilance and like the feltness of the vocal is. And you're getting rid of a little bit of the fundamental because the fundamental in that vocal is kind of clashing with all the other low end elements. And I just don't really like it. I like the idea though. I think that the panning is also unnecessary. I don't know. It's just another opinion, but I don't know. It feels a little bit wacky. If you do, but I don't know. That's more of a personal preference. But I would say don't pan it either. Just make it really, really forward in the mix, especially in the high frequencies, and then cut out the lows and just have it like dead center and just like someone's talking to you in the room that you're standing in. You know, like I don't think that the panning around the head vibe fits it well. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because that was the biggest thing I think that was sticking out to me. Is the sustain bass boring? I kind of know what you mean. Same thing as this first half, just change it up. Like after this, and you do a little bit, I would say change up the vibe a little bit more, like just a little bit more, because it's like maybe even make the bass like, especially that first hit. I don't know if I like that first hit.
You know what I'm saying?
Specifically that sound. The other two, those two sound great, but this one, I'm just not a big fan of that timbre in particular. So I don't know how hard it would be for you to like adjust it in a way where you... But it's just that same idea where like after the quarter, like, so you got like 4 quarters in this like area. I would say after each quarter, try and like change something about the main basses that are happening. Either in this case, the first half, I was thinking more like placement wise, you don't really have to change the timbre too much. And then in this second half of this like, I would say change the timbre of it a little bit more. But yeah, those are all my thoughts on that. And do I know what you're saying? I think I do. It's a really cool idea. I like the vocals in that as well. Yeah, like sound design's on point. I just think it needs to be a little bit more refinement on it, and you're good. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah. I know what he's saying to you guys. I hope so. Oh boy. We made it. Oh, my bad. We made it so far in before we got to this this track, and now we're going to get torn out asunder.
Me and my friends used to feed LSD to this little retarded girl in our neighborhood, and we'd lock arms around her and go, nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Wow. That was some tear out. Yeah, I guess I'll kick this one off. Is this spooky enough to drop on Halloween? I obviously need to finish it. Yeah. I don't know how I don't know how I feel about this pre-drop.
A girl in our neighborhood.
I'm gonna be dead ass. I'm just being 100% dead ass.
Yeah, that shit's gonna get you canceled.
Yeah, canceled on God.
And we lock arms.
But
it's hilarious, but it's not
funny.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's what the woke mind wants, bro. And that's obviously something that apparently matters. So
Around her and go, nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
but I think it's a good idea. I think that you can definitely drop this on Halloween. I think you should just reference like more Halloween related things. If you want it to be dropped on Halloween, there's not enough like referencing to the Halloween vibes. You know, throw a crow call in there. That always slaps. But yeah, I think it's like on that like trajectory though. Do you think a sustained bass would sound good with a similar top flow for the second half, or keep it quarter chops? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think you could sprinkle in like a, just like on like a last during the end of a phrase, you could just throw in a legato note just to let people know like, hey, you're still alive. Like you're not dead yet. We're done with the chopping. All right, your limbs are gonna be intact for a little bit here, and then you can go back to like cutting them off to remind them like there's still more chopping to be done. What do you think? What do y'all think? Is there a good way to start trying to get shows? Is hitting up the venue directly what I should do, or how do I go about doing such a thing? So in my own experience, I haven't done shows in a while, but when I was doing shows, a lot of it just comes to directly meeting people who are hosting events. So if you know someone who owns a venue, that's a plus. If you know someone who's promoting venues, that's a plus. If you can even just do individual stuff for like parties, like that works great too. Yeah, Open Decks is another great one. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to approach it, but the best way to get like, I would say like the shows that will pay you is to know someone who is hiring people to do a show. So like promoters are a good way to like find those people. And then obviously if you know someone who owns the venue, that's another really great way. But yeah, what do you think, Dino? What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's no more or less spooky than regular tear out, so no comment on that. I think tear out as a whole has like an ominous evil vibe to it. Do I think the sustained bass would sound better with a similar top flow for the second half, or keep it quarter chops? I don't understand the question. Do I think this is? Do you think a sustained bass would sound good with a similar top flow for the second half, or keep it quarter chops? Are you talking about like the sub bass, or? Because I'm a firm believer that the low end should follow the movement of the top end. So if you have sustains in the top end, you should have sustains in the sub as well. Let's see. What do you all think is a good way to start trying to get shows? Is hitting up the venue directly what I should do, or how do I go about such a thing? Well, first and foremost is make yourself known to the community. Show up to events, whether you're playing them or not. Get to know the promoters is the best way. Generally, what I find is that promoters... don't show up alone either. Show up with a car full of 3 or 4 of your friends. Different people every time. Yeah. Literally beg them to let you play. Go to shows with Powerline. Go to shows with Hokey Boy. Go to shows with other locals. Find out when stuff is happening up in NorCal and get booked in NorCal. Get booked in Nevada. Go and, don't... Because you have a... like a backlog of music already, And, something that I always did when I was trying to get shows is I would go to the show, and then I would go to the after party, and I'd try and get on the decks at the after party, right? But, not to toot my own horn, I'm a damn fine DJ. My problem was that I didn't have the backlog of music at the time. Go to... seek out small festivals and send them your stuff, like Real is saying. Go to campouts, bring a small sound system and a generator, set up a Renegade stage, and play for 8 fucking hours straight. Kill their side stage with your side stage and make them pay attention. No, but really, the best way to do it is to get to know the promoters, make yourself visible, make yourself known as a supporter, because the promoters will support the supporters, right? It might take a while, And anyone that's worth their damn, they're not going to be able to book you out for like 3 to 6 months, right? Because they need a show that's appropriate for your style of music. They need an opening. You will be opening. Like, understand, you can't play the 8 o'clock time slot with this music. 1 or 2 tracks. If you play 45 minutes to an hour of this, you are not getting booked again. Just because this is too high energy. Like, this is like peak hour energy, right? So you're not going to be playing a lot of this. But what you could do is you could get on the lineups, you could play some tracks, you could maybe show some of your tracks to the guys who are playing the peak hour, and then your tracks get passed around. Because you're more than likely you're going to get booked to play this music on your merits as a producer rather than a DJ, I would think. Because you're not going to be playing peak hour music as the opener, because if you do that, you're not going to get booked again. There are a lot of working DJs in our Discord. You can talk to Sofa King Sadboy. You can talk to Jake Love. Liquid L. Real is starting to DJ now. Concow DJs all the time. And just, figure out what they do. And 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be they made themselves known, they're present, they're supporters, they got to know the promoters, and they just showed up consistently. Like, don't bug the guy, but be like, hey, here's my music, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But you know what you have, and you know what kind of shows you're going to be seeking out, and so you should be seeking out those kinds of promoters. Like, you're not going to be playing at Toxic Summer LA next week, but real in the chat, man. Yeah, like Luna is saying, go to shows, make friends with other artists and the promoters. It's the best way to do it. You just have to be consistently showing up as a supporter, and then they will scratch your back in return. But like I said, if you show up with a car full of friends, preferably different friends every time, just like make them understand that if they have you at a show, a lot of people will come to support. Because at the end of the day, like, ultimately, you are only worth what you add to the door sale. So, yeah.
Money makes the world go round. What a tragedy. Anyway, next up, we got the faceplant whip.
shit up.
Well,
Things I could do to make it better. I don't know, make it, but no, I'm kidding. Mainly concerned about arrangement and the second drop. Ideas to add more interest. Yeah, something memorable and hooky in the high end. That like a good rule of thumb is if someone hums it twice, does it get stuck in their head? That'd be a good idea. It sounds very much like all of the rest of mid-tempo. And if that's what you're going for, great. If you're trying to be standout, then do something stand out. I don't know what that would be in this genre. Can we get, and the question was about the second drop. Can we, yeah, from right about there. So as far as arrangement goes, your soft selection is excellent. Your drum selection is excellent. Your flow is excellent. You could do some like section ending fills though. Could be cool. Like just give us some of that Phil Collins in the air tonight Tom fills. You know what I'm saying?
Alan knows what I'm saying.
Alan knows exactly what I'm saying. But like as far as like adding interest goes, the only thing you can really do is like add something that is catchy on top. And it is like the high end is being fulfilled by the mid bass because it's a like a full frequency. There's a lot of full frequency bass sounds, but you could add like a more dedicated lead element, something more melodic, a through line that could be followed by the listener is something that can add interest and make something more memorable, and therefore make it better. But this track, honestly, would go hard in the middle of any mid-tempo song or any mid-tempo set, but I feel like it would just be another track in a mid-tempo set. It wouldn't be the standout thing, which I'm sure that's probably what you're going for, right? And unfortunately, like, all of my mid-tempo knowledge goes back to, like, 2014-ish. So I'm not hip to the current stuff. But, like, some of the cool stuff is, like, Mamushku, I don't know how you say it, but, and, like, Sixes, they did some collabs a number of years ago. Those were pretty dope. And it's like, I don't know, something else you could do is you could have like a very, what you want is like a motif in some form, something discernible that repeats, that is catchy and memorable, right? And I just feel like you have a really nice smorgasbord of sounds. Like the sound design is great. The drum design is great. The mixing is great. Everything about it is great. But I cannot, for the life of me, hum back to you like what is, like what was the through line. What I can remember though is you had like a really sick sound, like the, what was it? Someone said something about like a toot bass or something. Yeah, that was, yeah, pretty fire. But as far as adding interest goes, just a more like recognizable, repetitive top line. But anyway, go ahead, Mike. Good.
I mean, so as someone who is personally a fan of like the freestyle flow based stuff, which I make a lot of, I feel like the biggest thing that stuck out to me is, so you have this do 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 do. You have this bass, like you kind of have it throughout the whole song, and I don't know if I like it the whole time. I think in the second drop you could like keep the same notes. I'm not saying change the notes, but what I mean is like make the notes of the, especially like the main one that you use, that one, make that bass different timbrally. So maybe add like, I don't know, like a 19 semitones, like an octave and a fifth up, you know, thing on top of it, or something like that, right? Or change the harmonic series if you're using that. Like just do something to change the timbre of it. I also think that the high end in this, and this is probably not what you want to hear because you said you're more focused on the arrangement, but I think that this ties into this style. I think you could be a little bit more aggressive with high frequencies. Because remember, here, in case you weren't here earlier, I'm gonna draw it again, just because we're gonna be in paint all kinds of times today. So this is kind of what you want your song to look like. You know, you want a little bit of a dip here in the mids, but you want to make sure this and this is, I'm just trying to draw. These two are higher than this. Oh my God, that is not an arrow. There we go. And I think that your problem is it's looking more like this, kind of like that, which I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not going to feel as present. The mix isn't going to feel
This shit up.
So like I think you could bring up the percussion, for example. I think you could bring up like the high frequencies on the basses a little bit. Like some hits are pretty nice, but like that noise bass, like I'm expecting to hear a little, just a little bit more high end than that. Arrangement wise, I think another thing is your drums are like really loud the whole time, as in like they're not really loud in the sense that they're too loud in the mix, but they're always at like full volume. I think you should try either high passing a little bit or like taking energy away from them during these breakdowns, just so that way when you do finally reach that drop, it's like, whoa, this is loud. Because this definitely has that, you know, you want it, this sounds like you want it to be some loud music, you know, and I think that would benefit the mix or arrangement by just doing a little bit of mixing angle over the course of these breakdowns. Anything to add? Reverb throws more, or maybe like reverse stuff. You have some reverse stuff, but I'm thinking like it's like the high frequencies is not in a lot of these reverse stuff, so you could do like a white noise sweep and just bring more of that in. Also, yeah, don't be afraid to like lower energy during breakdowns to like give more room for that downbeat in the next section. So for example, high pass, you can turn down the volume a little bit. You can make it a little bit more mid, like the stereo image. There's a lot of different ways you can like take energy away from the mix without really changing too much. But yeah, no, I think that your sound design is fire. Just needs like a little bit more timbre variation on that main kind of bass sound that you use throughout the song. And just crunch it, you know? Be a little bit more dastardly with those high ends. That's about it though. That's all I think. So yeah, I assume you got anything else to add, Dino?
Yeah, I want to clarify. I said mid tempo a bunch of times. I meant down tempo.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with Mac to it, and then like the overall like frequency and adding a high end like repeating element would definitely But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Let us proceed. Sick track though, dude.
Yeah, dude, keep flexing on this because this is the style that I enjoy making. So yeah, keep
Yeah,
you're
if you-
flexing.
If you stick around for exactly 2 more tracks, then you'll.
3 more actually. I missed a track because I'm really good at
You
this.
didn't miss anything. Bro came through and submitted after we go.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna play Reel's track next because it is technically one that I had missed. But yeah, then we'll have 2 more tracks. So 3 more tracks. All right. Hope. Damn, he's trying to give us hope in the form of music.
Hope, 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 hope for a generation. Hope, 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 hope for a generation. And beyond my side. Hope, 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 just beyond my reach. Hope for a generation.
Well, Dino, do you want to start us off?
I don't know. When you say lack of sub in the second part, do you sense a lack of sub in the second part? Mac, do it.
Not really. Not really. No. Oh, ignore that. He fixed it. Oh, okay. I was gonna say. I
Okay.
was like, I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Are the rhythms danceable? There is absolutely no rhythm to this at all. And I could not dance to this if my life depended on it. No, actually, it's very
What kind
danceable.
of dance do you mean, though? I think is a better
Oh, he
question.
means the weird. I'm seeing hieroglyphs on myself dances.
Yeah. Okay. Bet.
He's talking about flow. You're talking about flow, right? Right, Real? Talking about flow. People flowing, flow dance, like belly dancers and boy. Yeah, wook dancing. Yeah, definitely. Especially the whoop 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 whoop. That's a really nice like high end mid bass sound design. When it started out, I was like, oh shit, the Benji type beat, because like the sound design is so like similar to what he does. But then it became a very real type beat. Some of the better stuff I heard from you. I don't know why you've been cooking without me though. Feel a little upset right now. Oh, did you make this on the new computer? You made this on the new computer, didn't you? See what he says.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's why he didn't let us in the kitchen. That's why he didn't let us in the kitchen. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. Ideas for a final drop. Does it need a final drop? Maybe you can just extend the breakout a little and have an outro, and then you have a 3 minutes 20-second song, which is, from what I understand, officially 25 seconds longer than standard music nowadays, because everything's like 250, 255, something like that right now. It's all very
modern.
Short. short attention span stuff.
I can't wait for 16-second tracks. It'll be only a few more years, my guy. Only a few more years, and we'll be there.
I can't wait for YouTube Shorts to get even shorter. Fuck 60 seconds. Right. Let's just get a Tom Phil, a fat call response, and that's it.
Yeah.
Moving into each other. But no. So am I ignoring the following super tight to the mid bass or something else? I mean, yeah. Ideas for final drop. If you're so set on doing a final drop, reset. You know what I'm talking about. Just reset and do just gnarly calls or responses with like gnarly Reese's. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You've had me do it in a track before. I'm having you do it in a track now.
Yes,
but that's my idea. Go ahead, I do it.
Yeah. So I think the rhythms are like danceable in a way where I'm just bobbing my head. So I don't know if that's the dance you're like going for, but that's like basically the dance you're gonna get. Still doing sub on second part. Okay, any suggestions on whether it should be following super tight to the mid bass or something else? No, I think it sounds fine. You could, okay, so like my opinion on this has been recently, you could do a little bit of experimentation with it and maybe not have it follow it exactly, but like just do like, see what happens if you try to make it follow it, and then maybe it doesn't follow it exactly, but there are moments where the sub changes in a way where it complements the movement of the mid bass. I've been doing that a lot recently, and I think it sounds good.
And then it can reconverge too. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to hop on there.
You're chilling. And then ideas for the final drop. I mean, I feel like, is there a part of me that wants like a bigger kick? There's a part of me that wants this kick to like, just remind me that it's EDM. I like the lack of high end for this first section, but then during the second section, I feel like you could add a lot of energy to the drums by just making it like a more full kind of spectrum kick.
Zappy kick.
Yeah.
Sappy kick.
Yeah. Because I feel like the snare is in that kind of ballpark where it's like, sidekicks ruin everything. Anyway, but that's more of a preferential idea. Because like I feel like the biggest thing that I didn't like about the second drop, which isn't much, was that the energy levels feel kind of the same, where I feel like there could be this progression of energy where you have this second section feel just like louder, like more energy. But that's just an opinion. I don't think you have to do that. It'll definitely make it a little bit less mellow, but I think it'll also kind of add to the progression of the song. But yeah, no, I think this is a great track. Your sound design's always so full. I'm impressed with Real sound design at how he gets so complex, full, and like just layer upon layer upon layer, but then everything makes sense. Like it's not just this like, what's happening feeling. It's more like, oh yeah, this is a vibe, which I think is really cool. So yeah. Keep flexing, Real. Keep doing your thing. You're on. He's given us hope. Anyway, I think I addressed all the questions. Yeah, keep making music, bro. This is awesome. Yeah, vibing hard. We appreciate you too, Real. All right, next up, we got a sausage. We got the fucking. We're back to look. So we took a little hiatus. All right, Real gave us some dynamics. No more dynamics. All right. What do you think, Dino? Flex. Well, he thinks he's going. So I guess I'm flexing. So, that was pretty loud. That was like really loud. I think I saw your first kind of a couple questions. I think that the vocal level is too loud. I think a lot of it's too loud. There's like a lot of pain frequencies. The clap is way too loud. The clap really was, I think, the big thing this whole time that was like painful. But I love loud music, so I'll try and help you out. I think the biggest thing is if you don't have soothe, if you do have soothe some stuff and see if that fixes a lot of the loud, like harsh frequencies. And if you don't have soothe, just look for that like 3K range. Just see like what's around in there and what instruments are really pushing that area, because they are kind of painful. The vocals also, a way that you can get them to be more forward in the mix without having to turn them up is to just do dynamic compression side chaining on your master or on your pre-master without the vocals in it. So the idea is you just keep the vocals in their own little world and then you group everything else together and then you put the compressor on that and then do some dynamic, side chaining. So you're side chaining the vocals to everything else. So that way when the vocals are happening, they're lowering everything else. And if you do multi-band compression, it's even better because then you're only lowering the frequencies in the area that your vocals are living and not like your sub and things like that. I think that so the vocals were a little loud. I think you could turn them down and then do what I just suggested and you'd be able to achieve a more forward feeling from the vocals without them having to be so loud. The transition into the drop, could it be more impactful? Let me see. I think it's pretty good. I think there's just so much harsh frequency. Like it's just really painful. Like there's just like so much happening in this 3K range. Like this kind of range from like 1K to 5K, and it is a lot. Like but what you could do is just low pass some stuff before the drop. Like after you turn stuff down, you can low pass stuff before the drop and then just remove that low pass during the drop and it'll give the illusion of a lot of high frequencies even if there's not, because you've kind of like kept them away from everyone for so long. And then also, I don't know if you're doing this, but I think you should clip a lot of this stuff. I don't really feel a lot of clipping on the individual tracks. I think you should start trying to clip more on a bus level at the very least, if you want to get really, really, really loud. Because if you do that, you can kind of control everything a little bit better. I feel like there's certain moments that are like way too loud because other moments aren't as loud. So you're focused on these not as loud moments. But if you clip everything, then you can make everything just sound cohesively loud. So there won't be like certain instruments sticking out in a loud way versus other ones. And your limiter on the master won't be working very hard. I feel like you are clipping some, but if you do it on a bus level, I think it would benefit this track a lot. Just because, yeah, if you haven't heard of Clip to Zero from Baphometrics, that's what I'm talking about. So if you just look that up, I think you would really benefit from that style of mixing in this genre. And then, are the drops too loud? Yeah, so I think you went a little crazy, bro. I think you need to chill out. All right, just calm down. No, I'm just kidding. All right, it's really not that bad. I think everything is like loud in a good way, except for the frequency range I was talking about, which is kind of like the pain zone for the ears. So if you're really like just more careful in that area and just try and maybe put some soothe on stuff or even just EQ cut things, then I'm sure you'll be fine. Like there's this noise layer, like that clap especially, bro. It is clapping. It is
spicy clap.
It'll clap people's tinnitus right into their ears. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's a cool vibe though. I like the energy. I think you should keep working on this. Just keep refining your mix downs, because it's good. Yeah, what do you think, Dino? What are your thoughts?
Vocal level in intro, I'm back and forth on. Is it too loud? Can we get the end of the vocal to the beginning of the drop, like the build transition part? Yeah. But it's all kind of loud. Yeah. I mean, if it were me, I would make the vocals more atmospheric. I would like cut out the like everything behind on them and just kind of put them in the back, and then you can bring them into existence like at the very end when the build happens. Just add a little bit of tension. Is it too loud though? I mean, it's not louder than that clap.
Yeah, true.
What about transition into the drop? Can it be more impactful? If so, suggestion. Yeah, so there is a section about halfway through when you break down, and it almost feels like the bass is more clear and more present there, even though like probably in actual reading it's probably the same. But I feel like that kind of removes from the next drop, having heard the previous drop, and then the breakdown when you have a loud, clean bass, and then it drops back into a similar level as the first drop. When now I feel like you had a louder bass in a different part of the track, and I just want that back. Even though I don't think it's like actually louder, it probably just has more like frequency space to breathe. And like it's allowing my shitty earbuds to like play it out more. It's not like clogged up with other frequencies. That's that. Are the drops too loud? Yeah, absolutely. They're way loud. But it's not that like it's not loud at a volume. Actually, that's not true. There are some elements that are just too loud, right? But as a whole, I feel like the frequency space is cluttered, and it's not allowing the parts that you want to have shine. I say this all the time. Find the parts that you want to have loud, make them louder, and the parts that need to be quiet, make it quieter. Because you want to have the like. Generally, you just want to have like 3 elements stick out. 1 element in the high end, 1 element in the mid, and 1 element in the bass, which would be your sub. And the problem with like this is color bass leading into the tear out realm. It's like tear out flows with color sound design, and it's sick, it's cool. But it just feels cluttered. It just feels like there's too much going on, and the frequencies, and then the things they overlap, and then you have frequency buildups, and then it becomes like sharp, like that clap, or the actual main color hit is a little loud too. Soothe might go hard on this track. Actually, Soothe would probably go really hard on this track. That being said, I do love your sound design and your body work as a whole, Lodian. It's always good stuff. But this one's just a little bit too piercing. So, yes, it's a little loud. But thank you for the submission, sir. Always appreciate seeing your tracks.
Yeah, no, I think this track is fire. It just needs like a little bit of like taming, just so that people's ears maintain their health. But yeah, keep flexing though. It's fun. I think that you have a vibe that is unique in the color space or the color based space. So you should continue it. But yeah. Oh shit. All right, I am up next. It is I. That's all I got.
Okay. I believe the first question is about the vocals. Oh no, the first question is the mixdown. I'm not going to answer that using the earbuds that I have right now. When I listen to your mixdowns, I do it on the system. Because I just feel like it's better appreciated that way.
Word.
But
Is there anything? No, I mean, like, yeah. What sucked? Like, what was there anything that did suck? If not, then yeah, then it's understandable.
I mean, I kind of addressed it in the transition part. Going into the big B section, so when you have that, like, towards the end, you have that bass preview build into the drop. There is still a little bit too much low end in there. You did a really good job of not having it, but it's just a little bit too much. So maybe have like a really, really gradual EQ curve and just, I don't know, cut the fuck out of it.
Word.
You know.
Yeah.
The flow at 130 was kind of strange, but then you brought it into a really sick flow at 140. And I know it's the same flow, it's just different, like, sample place. Play from 130 to 150, please. Yeah, so like 135 to 142-ish is not quite in my taste, but then the next flow is super fucking nuts.
Okay.
But I think that's a taste thing. Other than that, very well done part. Let's see, what else stood out to me? In the big B section, so the end, you have this noise that's coming in at the end of the bass section, and it's just adding like a nice little sizzle. I don't know if you're volume shaping that in or you're just turning the right knob at the right time, but that's super fucking spicy. I absolutely love it. And the levels on that is great. If we can get just the second half of the last section. So some of those, like the scratching high end sounds, and I said it earlier in the stream, you want to take it up to pain and then just dial it just ever so slightly back to where if that sound is repeating, it's gonna hurt. And Magdu does this perfectly right here. I know if that sound were to keep happening over and over, it would drive me nuts and I would hate it. But he gives us just enough of it, and then he takes it like just a single step below. And that is what I was talking about earlier. Like that sound, I would hate it if it played throughout the whole track. But he gives us just enough of it. And it's sibilance. That's what it is. It's that like almost pain, but not quite. And that is
Honestly, though, after hearing it and you mentioning it, there's a part of me that wants to be a little bit gentler with those moments. Because it's one of those things where when you're working on a song for a long time, and this is for everyone, like not even me, like when you work on something for a long time, your ears lose that like understanding. And I worked on this today.
Ear fatigue.
Yeah,
right.
I made this earlier today, so like it's only been like a few hours of work, but I found that like by the time I got to the second section, like you don't have the understanding of how like loud those higher frequencies are. And that's why, yeah, no, I appreciate you mentioning that, because after listening to this back, after not working on it for a while, I feel that harshness, and I don't know if I like it. So, yeah, no, I appreciate your.
Well, like I said, I'm listening on these things rather than.
Which is good, because that's where you're really gonna feel that obnoxious sibilance is like super obvious on those.
So. I mean, I have 990s at home, and I have the sibilance kings. But no, this is a great example of that. And what was the other part? We were talking about the vocals. Do the vocal parts sound cool, or are they meh? Okay, so there were some parts of the vocal where I thought it was really nice, where I thought it was really cool, and you did the thing that I normally hate in vocals, but I feel like it fits the vibe of this track, where you downsample and degrade the vocal and turn it almost robotic. It sounds really cool in the breakdown, and it sounds really cool like as a contrast to where it's clean. But the first vocal hit, where it starts out full robotic, and again, this is just a taste thing, right? I personally was not a fan of that. But the effect is cool, and it's really well used in other places of the track. Are those placeholder vocals, or is that what you're going to go with for the final result?
The funky vocals are placeholder vocals, but the other stabby one, like the one shot, like so like that one is what you're saying sounded okay, but the other one. I guess it does the same thing there, but I see what you're saying. Like these, like that degradation is what you're talking about, I assume.
Right, but on that background vocal, I think what I wrote here is the background rapper type vocal works. Those are my exact notes.
Okay, word. I just didn't like this section. This specific section I did not like, and I wasn't sure if it still works. Well, okay, I liked it, but I didn't know if I really, really liked it, if you know what I mean.
It does work. However, when you have that degrading part, listening back to that, it's cool. It's just a little bit loud in comparison to everything. It's louder than it should be compared to everything else. It's like it stands out too much. If it like emanates from the background the way that other one does, that would be it's too present, if that makes sense. Again, and that's for my taste, right?
Word.
Because I'm gonna say the same. Who did I told Conk, I'm gonna get out of your kitchen. We'll put it that way. You asked about the vocal, and the mix down. When I get back to California in the next few days, I'll listen to it on the sound system, weather permitting, and we'll see how it is there. Get you some real feedback with that.
Word. Well, I appreciate all of you for the feedback as well. I saw there were a couple ideas in here, especially
Pat seemed to like it quite a bit.
Hell yeah! All right. Well, thank you all. Next up, we got Gav with Need Ya. Well, do you want to kick us off, Dino? What do you think?
I see you see my notes here. Okay. First things first, the intro, it's not in key. By no means do I have perfect pitch. In fact, I have really poor pitch. And even I can tell that high end element and the bass and the vocal, none of those three elements, like if it was 2 out of 3 were matching, sure. But all three seem to be their own key. So, or in their own key. So that might be something worth looking at. And let's see. How is the clarity for me on the mix? Pretty good. Everything is all the elements are well defined in their own space. However, oh man, there is something going on with the kick and the snare. And it seems to clarify after that weird spike in the middle. But if we can just get the ramp down on that section before the breakdown spike thing.
Was it here?
It's in that area. Great clarity here. Great clarity. No, keep it going. There is a really weird, I don't know if it's the vocal chop that's being layered on top of the kick, or if the kick is just clipping that hard, but there is an audible blip going on with the kick. And if this were coming out of my sound system, I would turn it down. Because I don't know, when I hear that, there's intentional distortion, which you have a lot of in this track, and that sounds fantastic. The sound design is, the synth choices, all of that is fantastic. But I don't know if it's the vocal that's being layered on top of the kick, or if it's the kick itself. And it's funny, because we recommended zappy kicks earlier, but I think your kick might be too zappy here. The whole second drop is sick. There are some hits in there that it sounds like it's a down pitch saw that's detuned with a lot of distortion. That's what it sounds like it is. And then it sounds like you might be layering and causing chording to happen in the low end, which is not great. Because in other parts you have it coming through really good. And it's really prominent towards the end. The sound design is fantastic. It could use a little bit of polishing. But this is a great sound. Do I get sick of the vocal, or is the post-processing enough to keep it fresh? My only problem with the vocal is that it seems like it's not quite in the right key, which is a shame because the track is so good, right? And I just feel like that high-end element, especially in the end, if you can just play the last 30-ish seconds. It works there, but it doesn't work in the beginning. And I don't know if it's because it's that high-end element that you have, that almost like bell chime like sine wave thing that's going on in the beginning is making it not work. Like the first, yeah, right up there. Yeah, it just doesn't. The three of them don't fit together. As the two individual elements at the end, it works, but then you have that weird like blaring sustain hit that also doesn't quite work. So it's like one or two things that could do some adjustment, and then you have a fantastic finished track, right? So figure out what the keys are, figure out the layering on that kick, or maybe get rid of the kick. I don't think it's the kick though, because it doesn't happen throughout the whole track. It's just in certain areas. So I think it's overlapping with the vocal chop and it's causing like a really weird audible click. And it's not like a click, it's more like a blip. And blips out of subs scare sound guys. And so yeah. But that's the vocal is good. It does not get boring. The post-processing is not what keeps it fresh. The chopping is what keeps it fresh. And allowing it to play out from time to time is what keeps it fresh. So very, very creative and good use of that. Yeah, that's good. There's not too many differences between the first and second drop. There's the right amount of differences. You went for the changing of the arrangement and the melodic value rather than the instruments used. That's a good way to do it. I tend to like that more than doing the same flow with different sound design. Now, ideally, you would have like 50% same sound design, 50% same flow, and then 50% change flow, 50% change sound design. But the way you have it right now it's good. It's not too different. It's fresh. It works.
Word. I have some differing opinions, but I mean that's just life, right? Like if we all had the same opinions, then obviously things would get real boring real fast. So I think that the mix is not at a clarity that I would think would like really make this tracks shine. I think like the biggest thing that like I immediately noticed was during this first drop, there's no sub at all. It is a ghost town down there. During the second half, you got some sub down there, which is a vibe. Like, I think that this second part really felt nice compared to this first part. I would really focus on that sub. Maybe it was like muted or something is what it kind of feels like a little bit. I hope that's the case. But yeah, it's like non-existent. I think that the other big thing mix-wise is I do agree with Dino. I think that the biggest thing that just felt unnecessary, like it crowded the whole intro up, was that bell. And you can feel it in like the mid-range where it just feels like it just feels like there's something there that shouldn't be there, and it's the bell. And it's like, I don't know, maybe like put this song down for a week, come back to it and listen to it, and I think you'll hear with like fresh ears what we're talking about, because it's definitely not resonating with everything else in a nice way, but it could just be the keys of it. I would say aim for a different sound entirely though, or just get rid of the sound and see if it works without it.
Yeah, it's not in the rest of the track, so
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Like during this, like you're really relying on the bass, the vocal, and the drums, which is more than enough elements to make a cool banging track, in my opinion. So all you really need to do, I think, is really refine the vocals and make them as good as you possibly can. Now, in contrary to Dino's opinion, I did not really like the vocals on the drops, and the big reason why is because they're too forward. It's like too much of a main element the whole time, where you could be relying more on the basses being the only main. If it sounds like the bass and the vocal are like fighting for the front row, where what you could do instead is, I think, have just like moments of the vocal and maybe delay it out or have it do something where it kind of fades away with a time-based effect, like even reverb. And then you can just have these moments where it's like just the bass with the drums during the drop. And I think that would make it feel a lot more refined and clear, which I think is like the goal of this track, is like to make it really clear, really like precise. I do think that the noise levels, see, like on certain basses, like this one noise sustain bass, it sounds fine. But on these basses, it doesn't sound as fine. And I think the reason why, I'm realizing it now, is because of the sub and the way the sub's interacting with the rest of the track. Like if you hear, you can hear there that like root note, sub note, it just hits, right? Like you're like, oh, whoa, this sub is like nuts. Like it feels like it's like,
because it's chording from time to time.
right. And I think, I was about to say, I think it's because like here, I would say that is not the root note you want to be hitting with your sub. And I'm trying to see what note it's in. Okay, you could definitely hit a C#1 instead of a C#2 with that, and I think it would sound a lot cooler. But that is only an opinion. I think the big thing about this that really stuck out to me as far as like release wise, that I was really surprised by, because I saw you said this is an official release. How's the clarity for you in the mix? I am shook that there is no sub. Like you need a sub there for sure, 100%. I would really focus on something that I would recommend doing for future projects is low pass your whole song and just get used to the idea of what does it sound like when I'm just listening to my sub and my kick drum and my other like low end elements. Because if you don't focus on that, which is fine, there have been periods of my production career where I haven't focused on that, and if you focus on that first, everything else falls into place. Like if your kick and your sub are like right where they need to be, everything kind of just like, it's kind of like the foundation of your track, truly. So if you have like a strong foundation, the whole house doesn't like fall to the ground. But if you don't have that foundation flexing, it just doesn't quite feel right. Like you even have low end, you have more low end here in this kind of build up section than you do in this drop. There's like nothing there. And I feel like that is the opposite of what you want. You want to have less low end information in your buildups and more low end information in your drops. So yeah, that's like the biggest thing I can recommend to you as far as like mixing and focusing on like what part of the mix to focus on is definitely the low end, and specifically your kick and your sub and how they're interacting with one another. Now, the kick click that Dino is talking about, I actually didn't notice it, but a lot of that is based on what Dino said, true. Like check if you're using Ableton or any other like audio in your tracks, check your fades on the end of clips. So if you have clips of audio and you've just cut them, if you're not fading those clips, you're going to get what's called digital distortion, which is not good. It's basically like pops and clicks and things that, like Dino was saying, terrify people who are running big sound systems. And yeah, it's not bad. Like all of your whole track as a whole is great. I think that you have like a really nice structure. You have the elements that you need to make the song good. Now just refine how you're using the elements and in what way are those elements that you currently have working with what either is or is not there. So like the sub is the big thing that I would recommend just like really focus on in either this track, or since you've already released this track, in a future track, really just try and pay attention to what your kick and your sub is doing above all else, especially in these styles of music. Sorry, I got kind of stuck on that, but it's so important. That is like necessary. And I was kind of shocked. All right. But I believe in you. You've got this. Just focus on it and you'll be fine. I think that there are not enough differences between the two drops. And I wouldn't say that as far as like between the two drops. I would just say between like the sections of the drops. I had a similar comment earlier. I think it was on Agron's track, where every like 4 bars or so, or basically like if you think of your drop having 2 or 4 sections. Every one of those sections should have something that changes a little bit, especially in like your main elements. So in this case, it would be your main bases. And I feel like this specific sound, it doesn't change enough throughout the drop. I think like because this drop is so short, it's fine. But I would say what you could do is like, for example, in this section, you could just duplicate this and then create another variation before you break down into something that leads up into the next drop. Because this drop is only, let's see, you have a build up. You have a 1 minute 20 second build up, and the drop itself. So from 120 is 26 seconds long until you start going into your breakdown section, which I would say is not a good ratio. I would try and make your build-ups maybe like a quarter of the length or half of the length at most of your drop. Just because like the drop is the part that everyone's like really hyped about. That's the section where you can like really take advantage of high energy and like make people like really excited and keep dancing, all that kind of stuff. So those sections being longer usually is better. Not always, of course. I'm sure there's moments where that's not the case, but in this specific genre, I do think it would benefit from having a longer drop. And then, did I get sick of the vocal? So this was the part that I differed from Dino on. I did a little bit. I think the chopping I think you could do a little bit different timbrally with the vocal. So like the chops itself aren't bad, but I think because it's using the same like syllables or parts of the vocal, it does end up timbrally feeling boring. So I mean, if you just like, if you're using the audio clip, for example, if you just shift the audio over a little bit and try maybe getting some of the O vowels or some of the, because I think you're just doing like, the E and the are really all that I'm hearing. But I think if you tried to find some more syllables or vowels inside of the vocal, specifically probably vowels would be better. I think that it would really help make it a little bit more interesting and high pass them. But other than that, like, yeah, this track's awesome. I think it's like the perfect progression. It just needs to be longer in some areas and then focus really hard on the kick and sub. That's like, if there was homework, kick and sub for everyone out there, including myself, okay? Kick and sub. If you have your kick and sub in a place that it sounds great, everything else will work. I promise you. I won't even lie. On God. So, yeah, cool track though. I really like the, I guess this is almost like, it kind of reminds me of like the 2016 vibe, but modernized, if that makes sense. Like that classic dubstep, but then... Yeah, dude. This section hits so hard. I really love your last one. Like that hit was perfect. That is the goal. Like you know what you're doing there. So I believe in you. You just got to keep making that feeling more felt throughout this drop section. But anyway, is there anything else that you had to say, Dino? I think I've been honest there.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about the bass lacking in the first section. I would just, in future projects, just extrapolate on the vibe that you have in that second section. That contrast between the old school nostalgic and the modern. Kind of like what Ken was going for earlier, and that like you want to have something that's reminiscent, but then also new. But yeah, anyway, let's get on with the last track of the night. I'm excited to hear this.
Oh no, I think that was the last one. Is it? Oh yeah.
No.
Oh no
No.
no. I'm so sorry. Another person I did not see. All right. Thebro 24 Cook Up 10. Sheesh. What kind of is that a cat?
The Siamese cat, yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that cats could look like that. I'll be dead ass. All right, let's get it.
To move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo. Time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo. Death always on my mind. This my only outlet. Never will I commit suicide. Holy heaven routed. I'll push to them clear skies. Need to learn to shut my mouth quick. Slipping up on what I say, tripping on how I portray, missing drowsy. How you doing, Trey? I've been feeling lousy, booting up some games so I can turn on my brain and meet the constant commentary. Took some ACO, now I'm walking through a cemetery with the homie Triple N till we came across a gravestone for a girl named Victoria. Died not long before we were born. Damn. Some people have it rougher than you think. Made my soul mourn for the cycle of meat shells to be born. This cell trapping us in a constant state of perception. No lessons to be learned. Word turn to ashes is what I yearn. I learned, but the truth of the blackness didn't find no peace, finding answers. Now I'm stuck as one of Diablo's dances. If you wanna know the truth, they take every little bit of you, but tell you the truth. I see ignorance and I somewhat pity you. Or do I envy you? I don't know. Torn, it's hard to be friends with you. Time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo. Time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo. Take the cradle to my grave, break beats, making fables, trying to find a way to get paid. Waiting for them labels so I can spit in the face. I ain't gonna sign on that dotted line unless it's 4 or 5 mil, going at least 70-30. Lucille been acting flirty, cause the devil know that I'm worthy. They trying to make sure I never make it. Speak my truth, I can never fake it. Blackness for a heart, all the body always feeling vacant. Margway speaking between the lines of the statements. Face it, we've been fucked over, fed with rotten leftovers. Pray to the Elohim, recite the name of Chill Hover. Sick of acting like a pushover, falling victim to people's jealousy. Spit it sweet like some jelly bean, shine so bright, I've been time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo. Time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch the warning signs of a pylon for the gut. You like just another hug. Ayo, ayo.
Word. What do you think, Dino? I'll let you go first.
All right. Okay. Since I see Scrooge is in the chat, am I addressing the Twan Alonso Scrooge collab, or am I addressing the Scrooge track or the Twan Alonso vocals? That's the first question. Hopefully he's still with us all together. Okay. Yeah. So if you look at any point in that track, there are 3 elements consistently. You have the low end 808, which is really good. The 808 should not be louder. It's actually probably a really good volume. You have the vocals, which fill up the mid space, and then you have that flute sample, like the actual sample bit in the high end. That's it. He left room for his vocals, as you should do if you're making music for this purpose. Very, very well done. Okay. I just had to get that out of the way, because there's so many times you'll hear like things fighting for space, and it's real simple. Especially if you have like interesting lyrics. Like I even wrote down what are these lyrics, and then Magduit opened up the description so we could read what the lyrics were saying. which were like, this is very underground hip hop, like not a mainstream. I don't know what they call it, but like in my mind, I call it like anthem rap, where you have a hook and a chorus like 17 times, and then there's like 3 verses between. Like, it'll be like hook, chorus, hook, verse, hook, chorus, hook, verse, hook, chorus. So 10 sections, and there's only 2 verses. Makes no sense. So I like that, and it's definitely telling a story, as you always do. You're one of my favorite lyricists, which is saying something, because I know some real poets out here. The cuts, though. In the beginning, the cuts are good. I wish they would stay out longer, like cut the beat a little bit longer, and then maybe like a pre-reverb, like suck back into the beat. In the second half, yes, there were too many cuts, I think. Instead of having a bunch of small cuts, have a long cut that's impactful, that's repetitive, like with your hook or your chorus, so that when you're saying something very important, you want your listener to hear it. You want them to know that the next time the beat cuts out, that's what you're going to say, so that they can sing it along and it can get stuck in their brain and your track can pop off and the algorithm will make love to you. Let's see, what would you suggest I do for an intro? Like a slow build up for the background sample is what I'm thinking of currently. Yeah, just the background sample. Have it on a high pass and then open it up. Have it on a low pass and then open it up. Doesn't matter. I mean, there shouldn't be any low end content to it anyway. But yeah, no, that's excellent work. Like, great track, dude. Great track. Little bit too knife happy with the cuts. Maybe be like more methodical and more predictable with them. And again, like when your beat cuts out, your vocals should be saying the same thing every time it cuts out, or your vocals could be saying the same thing every time it cuts out, so that again your listener knows that that's what's going to be said, and then that'll earworm its way into their head. And yeah, but anyway, that's my comments on this track. Love the music, Scrooge.
Yeah. No, this is so like I think the biggest thing that I love about your tracks is that the lyrics are extremely deep and they're really meaningful and they're also very creative. That's like my favorite part about all your work. And I think that the biggest thing that I have felt that I miss, that I wish from your tunes, would be clarity on the vocals, which I know is hard because like you have this whole entire style of affecting your vocals that you enjoy. But as someone who's listened to a ton of old school hip hop, I think that if people were able to really understand what you were saying without the lyrics, because like with the lyrics here, I get it. Like I get everything you're saying. I understand it. But without them there, I can't understand what you're saying. And I think that I would love to be able to understand more from just listening instead of needing the lyrics to like truly understand all of the phrases. Because you do have really, really, I would say, next level creativity when it comes to your lyricism and your flow. Your ability to write is amazing. And that's why I think you should be as clear as possible and just like enunciate your voice, you know, just like let your voice do the talking. You don't need to do anything to it. Make it as loud as you possibly can compared to like everything else in the track. I think that would make your tracks easier to understand. Because without the lyrics, I personally can't understand them as easily. There are moments where I will get like bits and pieces, but it's like harder to truly understand the whole picture. But with lyrics I can, which means to me that it's not clear enough from like the sibilants, the like the vowels, like everything in the voice isn't clear enough for me to be able to understand it. Now, does that not mean you can affect the vocals? No, you can still affect the vocals, but I think your goal should be to create as much clarity as possible, so that the listener can understand every single word that you're saying, because the words that you are saying are really cool and inspiring and awesome, and very real, which I think is great. Well, I think, I mean, like, okay, I see what you mean. Like, I don't think it's about the mixing game. I think it's about the way you affect your vocals. I think you need to have one lead vocal track that just shines. Like, you don't need anything else, especially during verses. Now, during like hooks or choruses, you can probably add some like, 3 to 5 vibes going on there. But I think during your verses, like, reference old school hip hop, and I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, even like the big G's, like Wu-Tang, right? Like, if you listen to Wu-Tang, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. You can understand every single word that's being said perfectly without even like trying to work at it. And I think that if you applied that to your lyricism, it would be insane. Now, this is an opinion and it's a pretty strong one, but I think that's the biggest thing that I have struggled with, and that I now better understand, especially when I've listened to your other song. Like, now that when you have lyrics here and I can read them, I get it. But I think the goal should be to not need the lyrics, because then you can really reach more people more easily. Now, what does it remind me of, though? This kind of I like Dino. You were saying it's like anthem rap. I would say, to me, it reminds me of metal, and I think metal is cool. But the biggest thing about metal that I struggled with throughout my whole life has been the impossible nature of the lyrics and how you can only understand them if you really pay attention. And maybe this is all opinion, right? This is all just preference. You don't have to change anything if you don't want to. I just want to let you know that's the biggest thing that makes me not understand what you're trying to say with your music, because what you're trying to say is really interesting and cool. It's just hard to hear. The kick and the 808 I think are fine.
Now I'm walking through a cemetery with the homie Triple N till we came across a gravestone for a girl named Victoria.
Yeah, see, like, your voice, I think you can make your voice louder here.
We came across a gravestone for a girl
More high-end presence.
named Victoria. Died not long before we were born. Down.
And then the cuts. So I love cuts. I like the idea that you have here, and I think it's actually really good. The problem with it is that I don't even think it's that there's too many. It's that it's not rhythmic. Like, so if you're going to have more cuts, the big thing is that they have to be at the same time beat-wise. And I think the way that you're cutting wherever the lyrics kind of ended up, which is okay. But by doing that, you are creating a lack of rhythm in the way that it's cutting. So what ends up happening is there are moments where it cuts out and it's like kind of random feeling, which is jarring for the listener. Whereas what you could try to do, now this is maybe not the best way to go about this, but this is just what I have done in the past, is design the beat with the cuts in it. Like, have moments where you're like, all right, this is where I want to have a cut. Nothing like I'm going to say something interesting here, and then the beat's going to, like, make the beat without any vocals on it, make the cuts, and then have the lyrics written in a way where the cuts work. Treat it like a pocket that you have to hit. And then what you can do, at least from my own experience, is it'll just change your flow. Like, you can improve upon your flow or maybe even change words. That's where, like, the poetry gets really strange, because you have to basically create something that is rhythmic but also trying to tell a story, which is like, that's like the hardest part of rap in my opinion. So yeah, no, I think that that's the reason why the cuts feel weird. Even though they're cool, I think you should do the cuts for important parts. Just try and make it so that it's rhythmic, because like if the cuts are happening at a section where there's expected to be a cut, you're fine. Like it's perfect actually, because then the beat's not like cutting out because I think one of the cuts. Let's see. Let me find it.
This is times one of Diablo's dances. If you wanna know the truth, they take every little bit of you, but tell you the truth. I see
I think it was this one.
ignorant answers, no peace, finding answers. Now I'm stuck as one of Diablo's dances. If you wanna know the truth, they take every little bit of you, but tell you the
It feels like out of time with the way the beat is riding. Like
truth. I see you, or do I ever you? I don't know, torn inside to be friends with you. Time to move on, keep it pushing, dog. Try to stay.
whereas that one sounded great. Like that one I think sounds perfect. So I think it's more so just a thing about like the timing of them. But if you have them like, for example, I don't know how you were doing it here, but if you do it at the end of like every 4 bars or so, you would be able to create like a very rhythmic pattern. Because that's what the brain likes, right? Like we're all here because we love patterns. That's the way people are. We're all just little pattern freaks. And yeah, think of it as a fractal, just like everything else. That's the way I think of music, honestly. It's just a fractal, little Mandelbrot, you know? Yeah, no, and I feel you. Just the best way to do it is design the beat with the cuts and then sculpt those lyrics with the beat in mind. I think that's why a lot of rappers, they'll find a beat they like and then they'll write to it. And then the lyrics will just work with the track rather than the other way around, where that does happen, right? Like sometimes like there's moments that you can make the vocals sound the way that you want them to sound over the track by doing some stuff to the track. But I find that the vocals will never sit as great if you do that. They'll still fit to some extent, but they won't fit as good as if the beat is just done. And then you work your vocals on top of it. But anyway, those are my opinions, my guy. I think your lyrics are the sauce. So keep writing, keep making music. Or
else.
Yeah, or else. Yeah, or else I'm going to haunt you in your dreams, which no one likes, all right? I had a dream the other night that I was freestyling on a stage, which is funny that we're talking about rap right now. It was crazy. I was so upset because I made a mental note while it was happening. I don't know if I was lucid dreaming or not, but I made a mental note to wake up and then write down the lyrics that I was freestyling, but I forgot to do it, and I was so pissed. I was like, why did I not write it down? Like, that was probably the most lit rap ever, and now it's gone. So, yeah.
Sounds more like a nightmare at this point.
Yeah, honestly, it's horrible.
It was a dream till you woke up, then it became a nightmare after.
On God. That's why I love my dreams. But anyway. I guess that's it.
That looks like the conclusion to another successful Feedback Friday, gentlemen.
Yeah, I love all
Tell your
you
friends,
guys.
tell your mom, tell your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. Make your kids come and listen. Show up on Thursdays and Sundays for the Flock Flip at 9 Eastern. Let's see, what else? Yeah.
Keep making music and
Or else.
And yeah. Slide through the flips, seriously. Level up. Engage upon the brain cells, you know, make them like light the fire under your ass for like an hour, you know?
Yeah. Come through. Play some what's the name of that golf game that we play?
Oh, putt party. Yeah, putt party. Chess. Chess.
Well,
chess
don't tell
goes
them about the chess. That'll make them run away.
Yeah, honestly, chess. I don't really play the chess, even though I love chess. But I get tilted because I'm like, we're a music server, guys. All right, not a chess server. Right? Keep your chess over there. All right. Keep your chess over that way. You can keep your chess over there too if you want sometimes, but mostly over there. And then we'll be fine. But yeah, thank you all.
Well,
We will see you all next Friday, or honestly Sunday if you're cool. But you know it's only if you're cool. All right.
won't see me on Sunday. I don't even get to flip no more.
Dang.
I know.
He's not even cool. The guy
I gotta
who's
go.
he's here with
gotta
me
go.
and he's not even cool. What is this?
I gotta go. I gotta go home. I have responsibilities and obligations back home that preoccupy him Sunday night.
That
but-
sounds so uncool, dude. What the hell?
That's such an adult thing to say, right? Damn. All right.
No, but thank you all for sliding through. We'll see you soon. Peace.